Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you to my subscribers and welcome the new ones. I thank you so much for the people in the groups that I am in. Thank you so much for your love, for your support, for all your beautiful comments and your likes and your shares. And thank you so much for subscribing to my channel also. You know that it helps us grow the channel. Today I am making this beautiful table runner. It's all braided in two sections. Well, it's all in one piece, but braided on both sides of the pattern. And I also added some flowers on the side with some green leaves. I'm also going to add two big mega flowers on each end of this pattern, which is the next tutorial that I'm going to work on after I upload this one. Many of you have asked me for the tutorial on this pattern, and I am just going to upload it for you. So I use number 4 yarn, 100% cotton. This is Portuguese yarn. It's called Joaninha, which is ladybug. For people that live in the US and Canada, you can find similar yarn, 100% cotton also. It's Aunt Lydia at Walmart, size 3. I worked with it for many years when I lived in Canada because I'm in Europe now. And it's a beautiful yarn. Love working with it. And so I also use needle number 3. And you will need a scissor, of course. And this the centerpiece has off-white. It has this beautiful purple. It's kind of hard to see it on the light. Or camera, I should say. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous purple. For these flowers, I have multicolored yellow and off-white. Also, they're all number 4. And for the little leaves on the side, lime green, also number 4. So let's get started on the tutorial. Please, for those of you that are just arriving and are going to make these tutorials, these patterns, please like, share, and please, most important, subscribe, because not every time I will put this into the crochet groups. So there's a lot of work that I have on my channel that I have not put it in the crochet groups. So if you don't want to miss anything, subscribe so you can receive and hit that bell notification so you can receive the new uploads and the new patterns that I create almost every week, because I do have a big clientele that asks me for table runners, high-end table runners. So I hope you enjoy. This will be the first part. If you can leave it as is, or you can continue on and add the big mega flower like I'm going to do. That will be on the next tutorial. So this is part 1, and then I'll have part 2. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Stay safe. Okay, everybody, let's get started. So we're going to make a knot. We're going to do 61 stitch. Don't tie it too much. That's one of my biggest problems in the crocheting. I tie my stitch too much. 61 of them. And don't tie too much because we're going to need it to flex it a bit as we go up on the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go on until 61. So once we've done the 61 stitch, we are going to go back 4. 1, 2, 3. On the 4th one, we're going to do a chain stitch, and we're going to do on every single individual stitch and all of them until the end. And you're supposed to have at the end 59 stitches. Okay, meet you at the end. So it's going to be like that until the end. Okay, so we turn our work. We're going up 3, and we're going to do stitch over stitch until the end. Same thing as we just finished doing. We're going to do that this row and the next row. So stitch over stitch, we'll be having 3 rows the same way. So first row, second row, and the third row. I'll meet you at the third row. Okay, so we finished making our 3 rows. We're going to turn our work around. We're going to go up 1, 2, and 3. And people, don't forget, when you're turning your work, make sure that you do have it right, your stitch right on top of each one here at the edge, or you're going to be missing stitches at the end. Now, we're going to do 10 chain stitch, 10 stitches. And once we do the 10 stitches, we're going to do 1 separation, and we're going to skip 1 stitch. We're going to make little squares, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've done 10. We're going to do 1 chain separation. We're going to skip 1, and we're going into the next one. We need 1 separation again, skip 1 into the next one. 1 separation again, skip 1 into the next one. We're going to do 20 squares like this. And after doing 20 squares like this, we're going to go back to do the 10 on the other side, also at the end. Okay, as you can see, we did our 10. We did our squares, 20 of them. Comes to the 20, now we do our 10 again. Comes to the end, we make sure that we go right on top of the last one here on the corner, or else we are going to be missing stitch. And this is my problem. I tighten my stitch all the time so much. It's terrible. I mean, it's good as far as work. It gives it quality, but it's terrible to get your stitches in. Anyway, so we're going to turn around. We're going to do our 10 again on top of each other. And now we are going to start the row for the braiding of the yarn. So we're going to do braids on it. It's a very gorgeous table runner. You can make it as long as you want, as short as you want. It's up to you. Okay, so we're going to do 1 stitch, and we are not going to go on top of here. We're going to go directly inside of the second one, and we're going to do 2 groups of 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3 more in the same place. Okay, I hope you're understanding. Okay, so once we've done the 2 groups, 1 stitch, we're going to skip here, obviously, and we're going to go right into the one here. And we're going to do squares again until the last 3 squares at the end, because we need to create the same thing we're doing on this side. We need to create at the end on the other side. So we've used up these 3 squares to be different. So I'll meet you at the 3 squares here. Okay. So now we're at the last 3 squares. We do 1 stitch separation, and we go inside the middle like we did on the other side. And we're going to create those 2 groups of 3. So 1, 2, and 3 more in here And we're just going to repeat what we do on one side exactly the same to the other. And now we're going to do our 10 single stitch here. Okay, I'll meet you at the end. We're going to turn our work and go up 3. Okay, people, so we came to the 10. We turned our work. We went up 3, did 10 stitch, and now we're going to continue. I just want to mention that all these rows of the 10 stitches and the squares in the middle, they're all the same, even though stitch here at the end. It always stays the same. The only thing that's going to change is the stitches on here because we need to braid it. Okay, I'll show you as we go. But as far as this, each time you get to the end, go up 3 and do your 10. You get to the end on this one the same way. Go over and do your 10, turn your work, do your 10, and then we're going to continue from there. So 1 stitch separation, and we're going to go directly in here, and we're going to make 2 groups again. Okay, we're going to do this until the end. So the row basically stays the same. Nothing major yet. 2 separation and 3 more here. So we're going to do the squares and we're going to do the same thing. So now we go directly on top of our stitch. We're going to do exactly the same thing until the end. On the other side we will, so you know when you're going to get here, you're going to make 1 stitch separation and go directly in there. 2 groups, 2 separation, and 3 stitch also. Again, 1 stitch separation, do your 10, turn your work around, go up 3 and do your 10. I'll meet you at the end on the other side after we do the 10 up here. So I'm going to meet you already back here on the other side. Okay, everybody, so we've done the row here. We turned our work, we went up 3, we did our 10. We're going to do 1 stitch. Now it's going to start changing up. We're going to start making the braids. And it's the only thing that changes is in here. It's everywhere else stays the same. So 1 stitch separation. We're going to do 1 stitch in here, just like that. We're going to do 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And now we are going to lock it in the middle here of this one. Okay. So we have to grab it by the bottom here. We're going to go in it through here. Okay. And we're going to grab our yarn through it. And we're going to lock it in. So you're going to have your string like that. It's almost going to look like a heart shape. And then you're going to make 6 small stitch. 9 small stitch in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So you're going to have 9 stitches in here. Now you go back into the middle where you started your first stitch, and you're going to do 2 more. It's like doing the little groups of 3s again. Okay, so 2 more so we can have the group of 3 because it stays 3 in there just the same. We're going to do 2 separation. We got to create this side now, and we're going to do 2 in here again because we're doing this side. Now we're going to create, we're going to do 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to come back into the same place again, into the middle. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to lock it in. Now it's going to be easier to turn your work to work around what we just came down. So we're going to do 9 small stitch again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We are going to do 1 stitch to finish up our group. So very simple, you just have to pay attention a bit. And there it is. It almost looks like a little heart, doesn't it? Isn't it beautiful? Okay, now we're going to do 1 stitch separation, and we're going to go back to the squares. It stays the same thing. The only thing, like I said, it changes is only on the braids. 1 stitch separation, back into the square. I'll meet you again on the other side to do again the same thing, so you'll know what I'm doing. Okay, everybody. So now we're just reaching the other side. 1 stitch separation. Nothing changed. It's going to be repeatedly like we did on the other side. So we do our one chain. We're going to do 6. Let me stretch my yarn here a minute, because okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to come down here. We're going to tie our work right through here, and we're going to grab our yarn. We're going to bring it up, turn our work to the side so we can stitch properly, and do 9 stitches on the chain we just made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's going to be like that. We're going to go back inside to finish our group. So 2 more stitch, 1 separation. So now we have the 3 in there. 2 separations, sorry, and 2 more stitches in there. 6 chain again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go back into the same place, bring our yarn, lock it in, turn your work so it can be easier. I'm going to make 9 small stitch in here again. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We are going to finish our last stitch of the group inside of the middle here, so we can have the 3, 3. Okay, 1 separation, and we're going into the 10 stitch, and we're going to repeat this all over again. Now, another thing I wanted to touch base with you so you know that you're doing the right thing, you're not making any mistakes, is these braids are supposed to be on the right side of the pattern and not on the back part. So you need to make sure that you're doing the right thing by doing your stitches for the braids on the right side of the pattern. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a second. Just finished my last stitch here. Of course, I always have a hard time because it's the last one and it's always very, very tight. I always have a habit of tightening everything up. Okay, so as you can see, this is the right side, the wrong side, the right side, the wrong side, the right side, the wrong side, the right side. So you know that this braid has to be on the right side of the pattern always. So we're going to turn our work, and this is going to be, go up 3. This is going to be the normal 2 groups of 3s, because we're not doing braids on this side. It's the wrong side. So we're just preparing this for the next row for the braids, right? So we are going to do the regular groups of 2 groups of 3s inside of the same place. Oops. So now we have our 10. Now, 1 stitch separation, we go into the middle and we do 3, and then 2 separation, and then 3 again, and do the squares, 2 separation, and 2. 1 separation, we're going to the squares. So this is basically very simple. Right after the braid, it's always the same stitch. Nothing changes. We're going to go all the way to the end. Get to here on the back of the braid is the same thing. We go from the square. From here, 1 stitch separation and right into the middle to make our 2 groups. 1 stitch separation and do the 10. Okay, my friends, so we finished this row. Oops, I'm always off camera. We finished this row. Now, the back part, after we do the braid, is always the same thing. You have to make this row in order to make the next one for the braid. Okay, so this is where we're going to hook our braid in, the 6 stitches chain. Okay, so we turned our work. We did our 10. We're going to do 1 separation. We are going to do 1 stitch like we did for the braid. We're going to do 6 stitch chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we're going to come in. We never hook this into the last one that we just did. We have to do it in this one here, the one above, underneath. So we are going to go, let's say, right in the middle of the heart, right? We are going to come through it. We're going to pull through and we're going to lock it in. So you're going to have it there like that. You're going to turn your work and you're going to make your 9 small stitch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to make our 2 stitch in here to make the group of 3. It's going to be repeatedly the same thing always. 1, 2 separation, 2 stitch again, and now we're going to make 6 chain stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 6, and we go into the same place again. So it's basically like the middle of the heart. Pull your stitch out, lock it in, turn your work so it can be easier, and 9 small stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, because we only had the 2, and then we did the 6 chain, right? Okay. Now we need to do 1 more to finish up our group, right? And this is it. It's not complicated. 1 chain separation always, and then you come into the next square. So my friends, very, very simple, not complicated at all. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to do all the squares coming until here. 1 chain separation. We're going to do 1 chain in here, a regular stitch. We're going to do 6 chain, and we're going to come in and hook it here to grab our yarn through here, which is in the middle of the braid, the middle of the heart, if you want to call it. Okay, and then we do the 9 small stitch. We come back up, we make 2 to finish the group, 2 separation, 2 more, and then 6 stitch down, 9 small stitch, and 1 more in here, and go back. Now when we're going to turn our work, it's going to be the regular stitch inside 2 groups. We're going to perform get it prepared for the next row for the braid, right? So nothing changes. It's just, you know, you just have to be careful. It's just, you know, when you're doing the braid in here, that's all. Okay, so we've done the second braid. We are going to create it here. So we do 1 stitch inside, 6 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go in the middle, out through here, let's say the head. Whoops. So, middle, pull it out, and lock it in. And we turn our work. We're going to do the 9. Well, that's too loose. Either it's too tight or too loose, my goodness. So 9 small stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We go back into the middle and create the 2 stitch group of 3. Okay, 2 separation, create 2 more, and the 6 chain stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We come back into the same place, get it through it, pull the yarn, turn our work, and we're going to do 9 small stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to create 1 more regular stitch in here to finish up our group of 3. I'm always off camera. This is horrible. I'm sorry, guys. I have to keep checking myself. 1 stitch separation, maybe because I'm too close sometimes. And we'll go into and do our 10. Now, once we finish the 10, we turn our work, go up 3, do 10 again, and do our 2 groups, of 3 regular. We need to prepare the regular in the back like we did with this one, so we can have it prepared for our next braid for the other row. Okay, this is what it's starting to look like. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, people, so I finished making the regular row. 1 regular, 1 braid, 1 regular, 1 braid, okay? So I'm going to do the 10. I'm going to show you one more time the braid, and then we're going to continue on our own. Okay, so did 1 stitch separation. Okay, get you a little bit of a closer up. 1 stitch separation. We're going to go into the middle and do 1 chain stitch, 6 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are going to come here to the middle, grab right through it, pull our yarn, lock it in, turn our work, grab the chain, and do 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Open our work up. We're going to do 2 more regular chains to make that group of 3. 1, 2, because we already had the first one we did with a 6 chain. 1, 2 separation. We need to make 2 regular stitch for the other group. 1, 2. Now 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to come down in the same place, grab the yarn, pull through, lock it in, turn our work, and 9 stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need to finish our group, so we go back into where we started the groups and do 1 more to finish up the group. And there it is, the 2 groups. 1 chain separation, and we continue with the square and then the 10 stitch and so on. So very simple, not complicated. Just have to pay attention to make sure that your braids have to be on the right side and your regular stitch on the wrong side. Okay, so there it is. Okay, now I am going to do 30 or 32 braids. You always have to have pair. 30 braids, it's going to give you about 1.5 meters, 1.7 meters. Okay, so I am going to either do 30 or 32. As long as it's pair, you're okay. You can't do odd, you have to do pair. 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, and so on. Because don't forget that once we lock in, once you have, let's say you're doing 30 of them, 30 braids, we still have to count 3 stitches here and then 3 up top, which will be 6. So with the 30, it's, it's 36, right? So we got to make sure that we have everything in pair, okay? I'll meet you guys at the end because we need to stitch up the end so it can equally be square like the bottom piece, the normal way. So I'll see you guys at the end. After doing the 30 braids or 32, I'll see my length if I want it big or short or whatever. And I'm going to take it from there. I have to check with my client that had ordered this one, if that's the right length she wants or she wants it longer. So I'll let you know at the end how many I did, 30 or 32. I'll see you in a while. Okay, everyone, so I pretty much did all my stitches or my pattern, as you can see. And I did 34 braids. So I'm not counting 34 rows. I'm counting 34 total of braids. Okay, so it's a big one. Now, on my 34th one, it changes up a bit. So let's say you're doing 30, you're doing 32. Make sure that you're in your last braid. We have to change it up a bit. So you would turn your work after you've done your regular stitches. You do your 10, you do your 1 separation. You'd come inside and we're going to do 3 regular stitch this time, okay? So we have to do 3 regular, and we're going to do 7 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to come back. So you skip this one, and you're going to come right into this one. So 1, 2 on your third space. You're going to pull your needle through the second one. You're going to close it up. You're going to do your 9 small stitch on this like a regular braid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Once you've done your 9, you're going to do 7 more stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come back to the same place. Grab your yarn from the back, pull through, turn your stitches so you can work better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to do your 3 stitch regular on the same place. Whoops. One, same place, 2, and same place, 3. 1 separation, so everything else is the same. It's just the braid changes up a bit. I'll meet you on the end at the other braid. Okay, so now we're getting to the other braid. Now, I want to make sure that you guys know, in order to know that your stitches are fine, everything is good, you need to make sure that you have always 14 little squares. Always, or else you're not even. You have to have 14 all the way from the start until the end, because even earlier when I was doing my braids, I missed a few stitches here and there, and then I started realizing that my squares were going in, and I said, oh boy, I missed a stitch somewhere. So I had like 6, 7 rows to take down. So yeah, sometimes it could be a little tricky, you know, when you're not stretching it enough when you're putting that stitch in. Okay, so 1 regular. Again, we're going to do 3 stitch in here and repeat the same thing. 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 stitch. We're going to do 1, 2 on your third one. Okay, you can see 1 hole, 2 hole on your third one, just like all the other ones, but make sure that you guys know. So we're going to do our 9 stitch in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we are going to do 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Come back on the same place and do our 9 small stitch again. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do our regular 3 stitch in here. 1, 2, and 3. 1 stitch separation, and make sure that you always have your 10 stitches at the beginning and at the end, or else you're not going to have a nice square tail runner, or oblong if you want to call it. And always make sure that you get the corner of the end one, because it's tricky. Sometimes you think you've done it and you didn't, and it keeps going in, so not good. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like. Okay, so we go up 3, 1, 2, 3. We make our 10 stitch. Gonna make our 10 stitch. We've done our 10 stitch, 1 separation. We're gonna go on the first one here. 1 separation, and we're gonna go on the last one here. So 1 separation, we go on the first one here. 1 separation, we go on the last one there. Just to make sure you guys know. Try to show you, make sure. And then we're going to do the regular as we did. 1 separation, and make your squares. I'll see you again at the end to re-show you again how it's done. Okay, so we did our squares, 1 separation. We're going to go into the first one here. 1 separation, and we're going to the last one here. 1 separation, and do our 10. Okay. So we've turned our work around. We've done our 10 stitches. And now where we have these spaces here, okay? So we have 1 space here, 1 stitch inside, 1 stitch on the stitch here, 1 stitch inside. So basically what we're doing, 1 stitch on the stitch here, we are doing the same thing, stitches, the 2 rows or 3 rows of stitches like we did at the beginning. Remember at the beginning we had to do the 3-row stitch? Well, this is what we're doing here now. 1 stitch inside of the squares, 1 over stitch, 1 inside, 1 on the stitch. So we're going to do this row until the end. So just basically getting the stitches in. Okay, so don't forget, in here is 1. All of them is 1 and 1 on top of the others. Okay, everyone, so we've turned our work and we continue on making stitch over stitch, and we have 1 more row. So it's 3 rows of stitch over stitch. I'm going to continue my 2nd row and my 3rd row, and we can cut the yarn at the end and tidy it up because we're done as far as the table runner goes. And then we're going to start with the green leaves and flowers and so on. So we finished our 3rd row. We're going to cut our yarn. We're going to tie it up. Now there's quite a few people in the crochet groups that I'm involved in, associated with, they ask about, especially the new beginners, they're asking how to close up the end stitch to make sure that it's not going to come out of place and so on. For those of you that don't know how to get it properly in, so you'd make that knot, go through some of the loops back here, bring your stitch with you. What I like to do is I like to give it a knot to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere when you wash it, or whoever washes it, whoever you're giving it to. So then you would just basically go through a few more loops back here. Okay. And just make another knot to make sure through the loops. Very simple, not complicated. Just have to be careful not to pull too much in it, because we don't want to stretch all the other loops. Okay, so now we have 2 knots, and that should be just fine. And then just pull through some of the loops here. If you feel you want to give more knots to it, then feel free. And you know that it's secure, it's not going to go anywhere. And just hide the rest through your loops. And whatever's left over, because you know, sometimes you try to explain it on the group, but digiting and explaining is 2 different things. So here it is, my friends. You can't see that it's been knotted. You can't see that it's, you know, it's a perfect finish. Nothing's going to come out of place. And so we pretty much finished the table runner, the center, of course. And now we are going to start on the edges to fit in our flowers. Okay, you can use whatever color you want. You can use the green on the outside, and then in the middle of the green will be the flower, whatever color you choose. I'm going to decide here which color I'm going to use, because then we have the big flower that's going in both ends of the table runners. So it's going to come here, and on the other end a huge flower, and then little flowers on the side here. So make your pick which colors you're going to have. I'm going to look at my box of colors, and I am going to decide from there to see which one I am going to choose, because I love colors and I like to change it up all the time. Okay, so see you in a bit. Okay, everybody, so I did a head start on one side already, as you can see. Now I'm going to teach you how to do the sides. Okay, because then at each end we're going to put a big flower. I'm going to put a big flower. You might just want to just do this and leave it as is. So let's say you're going to start your stitch on the corner of the last stitch here. Okay, so we are at the edge. So you would do a knot and do your first stitch, and then do another stitch. So we'd have 2 stitches inside. Will be the same thing like I started here. 2 stitch here, 2 separation, and 2 stitch here on the same place. So we do 2 stitch, 2 separation, and 2 more on the same place. Now we skip the first row and we go into the second one with no stitch separation. We go directly. and we do the same thing. So it's going to be repeatedly all the way around the same way, 2 stitch separation and 2 more. You can do whatever color you want. If you want to do in green, it's a beautiful color also. I wanted to change up a bit, so this is purple. Sometimes it doesn't show well in the camera, but it's a beautiful purple. So no separation, we skip one row, we go into the next one. We're going to do 2 again, and 2 separation. I got pieces of yarn here. And 2 more inside. We're going to repeat this until the end of the side row here. This is all the side of the pattern. And I'll meet you at the end so I can tell you at the edge how it's going to go. Changes up the stitch a bit. And 2 more. So very simple. Just have to be careful that you have to skip one, and it has to be pair your braids, because if you're not pair, you're not going to match up the sides perfectly. It's supposed to end on the corner after skipping one. You do your group, your 2 groups, skip 2 groups, skip 2 groups, skip. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. We've reached the end, as you can see, and we skip one, and we're going to go right into the corner, last one. So it's just perfect. Can't miss it when you do pairs. It ends up perfect on the right spot. So 2 separation and 2 more in here. Okay, so now we did our 2 groups. Now we're going to do 2 stitch. 1, 2. We're going to count this stitch that we did the 2 groups. So 1, 2, 3. On your 4th one, we're going to lock it in. So 1, we're going to count this 1, 2, 3. On your 4th one, we're going to do a small stitch. And we're going to do a small stitch on every single one of them until 4 left over at the end. And then we need to add 2 and then jump, you know, these stitches to go back in the corner. I'll show you at the end how we're going to do it. So you got to leave 4 out. Okay, don't do the last 4. So we can repeat the same thing as we just did now here at the beginning. And we're just going to lock it in like this. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're reaching the end. As you can see, I already had started, give myself a head start because I am recording. I don't want to take so much space. Okay, so we'd count 1, right? The corner 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do the 4th. Okay, so then we'd have 1, 2, 3 left, right? Because we're on the 4th one. So we do 2, 1, 2, and we go back and do the 2 groups and 2 separation, 2 groups, and then skip 1, go to the next one, skip 1, go to... So it's repeatedly all the way around. Now I'm going to lock mine in over here because I am done. I have to continue on now with the other yarn, and this is what it's going to look like. And I'm just going to cut my yarn. Okay, so I'll meet you on the next row. So just do the same thing on this side as we just finished doing on this side. Nothing complicated. Okay. Okay, everyone, so now I'm going to use this multicolored yellow. I always use number 4. So this is number 4, Portuguese brand, 100% cotton, Joaninha, which is ladybug. Of course, there's the design. As you can see here, cotton, 100%. This is 100 grams per roll. So, and this is color number 4. So yarn 4, color 4. Well, it's all 4s. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. We're going to make our knot. After that, I better get this yarn out of the way because it's going to be in my way. We're going to start in the middle of our group here that we did in the corner. Okay, everyone, so we did a knot. We made a stitch inside in the corner. We're going to do another stitch. So 2. Just pull my string here. 2. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8. We're going to go back 1, 2 space on your third one in the back. Get it closer. See if you okay. 1, 2 on your third one. We hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, on your third one, we are going to make a stitch inside and another stitch inside. So 2 stitches in the same one. The next loop, next stitch, 2 stitches inside. Next one, 2 stitches inside. Next one, 2 stitches inside. It's going to start curling up like a flower. Next one, 2 stitches inside. So it's going to be 2 on each until the end, till the last one here. As you can see, we are going to go back into the middle and close it in with 1 stitch. This is going to curl up. Now, in order for it to stay in place and not move, you can go right, let me just turn it properly, get it fixed, right in the middle of one of the beginning loops here, the bottom, okay, like in the bottom here. You see the bottom here? We're going to get our yarn through it. Let's say like about the 4th one. And we're going to go back into the middle and give it that stitch like that. So it can, I think I went too far back. Yeah, I went too far back. Okay. Try that again. So. I think I'm going to count it because I usually do it by eye, but for you guys, so 1, 2, 3, 4, about, yeah, well, I had about that. Wow, okay. All right, so let's get it from here. So 1, 2, let's say the third stitch in the bottom, and we're going to close it in with a small stitch. And then we make another one in here. So we're going to have 2 small stitch and then our little flower. On the empty space, we're going to small stitch, go into the next middle one and do 2 more in the middle like that. and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm going to do 10 stitch. We go back to 1, 2, and 3, sorry, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to do a stitch and then another one inside the same one. Next stitch, another regular stitch, another one inside of the same one. The next one, the same thing. So it's 2 per stitch. You can't go wrong. Okay. It's going to start curling up. 2 on each stitch. Okay. Yeah, 2 on each stitch. Okay. We are going to go inside of the middle and close it in with a small stitch. Put him always off camera, that's not good. Twist it a bit, like that. And I'm going to lock it in like that. There it is. So pretty. And then one more stitch in here. So 2 stitch and then 10 stitch, start curling up and then start rolling it like that. We're going to go in the next space. Small stitch into the middle space again. And then another small stitch, so 2 inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to go back 3, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to make a normal regular stitch. Another one inside the same one. Next loop, the same thing, 2 inside. Next one, 2 inside. Next one, 2. So it's going to be repeatedly. I think I twisted it around here. My yarn got twisted. Yeah. So 2 and 2. I hate when that happens. It twists. Okay, and then 2. And then 2. And the next one. Next one. Okay. Start turning it. and grab it here from the start and go inside and do your stitch. And there it is, people. So we're going to do this repeatedly all the way to the end. I'm going to do one more stitch in here because it's 2 stitch in, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so not complicated at all, just a little bit tricky, but nothing we can't handle, right? Okay, so I'll meet you at the end, people. Okay, you guys, so we are on our last little flower there. So we did 2 inside, we're at the corner, we're at the end. Go up 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go back 3 space and put 2 inside. On the same loop, next loop, another 2. Next loop, 2. Oh. Next one. My hands are getting sweaty from overworking. You know, when you do the videos, you know, sometimes we say, oh, an hour something for a video. But if you look at it, how long it takes just to get the rows in to film and keep up and try to make it short. I mean, you really have to work fast in order to have the video out. And, you know, you got to work hard to get it all set up to be ready to be shown. So, yeah, everything takes time. Okay, so I hope I wasn't off camera all this time. Still have to get used to the camera. Okay, so once we roll it, right, roll it a bit, we go in through here and we're going to lock it in the middle and do 1 more stitch in the middle so we can have our 2 stitch. And we're pretty much done with this here, so we cut the yarn and we're going to make a knot to make sure that we're going to lock this in properly. Nothing's going to come out of place. A lot of you that the group ask how to finalize when you cut the yarn. So here's your time to look at it. And I like to use the smaller needle to get through the loops. Sometimes it gets stuck too. Okay. Now you know for sure it's not going to go anywhere because you've already given a knot. So let's fix up the flower a bit. Bring it out a bit. to fix this camera here a bit. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so do the same thing on the other side all the way to the end. I'm going to continue mine also. Okay, beautiful. How gorgeous that is. All these beautiful flowers. Now we're going to do the other side. Okay, my dear friends, so we finished doing the both sides of the flowers, and I thought I would add, even though I'm going to have a big flower at the end with some green leaves, but I thought I would add a little bit of green leaves on the side here. So it's optional, up to you if you want to add them or not. I add them. I like my work to be top notch, so, and my clients too. So I have to make sure that it's top notch. So I'm going to teach you very simple how to do this. By the way, I'm using yarn 4, number 4, Portuguese 100% cotton yarn, needle number 3, and that's about it. So to create these little leaves around the flowers, we are going to go in between them where this stitch is, the single stitch here in between the flowers. So you would give it a knot and then tie it in. Pull your yarn to the back and already start stitching it in. So we're going to do 5 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to come back in the same place where we have the other one, and we are going to lock it in. We're going to go 8 stitch now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to come to the same place again and lock it in. We're going to do 5 stitch again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and into the same place again. So here's your little 3 leaf, very simple and very beautiful, and it gives it a nice beautiful charm to the color. Now to get to the other space here, right in the middle of the flower where the purple is, we're going to give it a stitch in, and we jump right away into the middle of the separation space of the 2 flowers, and we lock it in. 5 stitch going up again, so very simple, nothing to it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back into the same one. 8 stitch now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Come back to the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Come back to the same one. Okay, so you got 3 little leaves again. And look how charming that looks. Now, back into the middle where the purple is, and give it a stitch in. Now, go into the middle here. I'll even bring it a little bit closer. Right in the middle there. I have such a tight stitch, sometimes it's a little bit hard to getting in. Just have to compress it a bit. So we lock it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back into the same place. Lock it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Into the same place and lock it in. And now 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the same place and lock it in. Now we're going to go right here in the middle of the flower where the purple is, bring it out, lock it in, and again into the middle of the other one, lock it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is repeatedly until the end. Nothing to it. And we're gonna do it this way. Like I said, it's optional. You don't have to do it. I wanted to do it so I can bring out the design of the flowers out a little bit more. So this is what it looks like, my friends. It's gorgeous. Really, really, really pretty, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to finish mine. I'm going to upload for you guys to get entertained on it. And I'll show you at the end. I'm going to put it on the counter as is. So people want to already start creating it. And once I upload it, then I'm going to start on the mega flower to put at the edges, on each edge of the table runner. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate every single one of you. For my subscribers, thank you so much for being here with me. For the new ones, I really appreciate you coming and subscribe. And I also thank every single one of you on the groups of crochet that I am in. I am so grateful for all the love that you guys have been giving me and the precious comments about my patterns. I thank you so much. Please stay safe. God bless every one of you. And I will see you shortly with the mega flower tutorial. I hope that you're going to create it and add on to this beautiful, exquisite table runner, because it is a high-end table runner. Okay? Thank you so much, everybody.